In this tutorial, we're going to run through how to publish your app to the App Store. The first thing you're going to need, of course, is your finished app. So I've got a very simple math app here. It's called Tables Quiz. And in the properties, we've got an app name. We've got to put in an app name. I'm going to call it Tables Quiz. We've got a bundle ID, and I've got an app icon uploaded here. We're going to need 4 pieces of information to publish our app. We're going to need a bundle ID, that's one that we've created ourselves. We're going to need to find out what our team ID is. We're going to need a name for our app, and we're also going to need an app-specific password. In addition to these 4 pieces of information, we're also going to need 3 files. So we're going to need a certificate sign-in request, we're going to need the certificate itself, and finally we're going to need a mobile provisioning. So let's get started with the process here in Thunkable. If we click on Publish, the first option here is to publish to the App Store. The little pop-up that appears here then tells you to be patient and that there's, as I said, a couple of different pieces of information needed. So to set aside maybe about 20 minutes or so to get all of this done. When you get started, you begin by entering your Apple ID. So once you've got signed in with your Apple ID, you've got to follow through these 4 steps. So we created our app name and our bundle ID in our properties in Thunkable itself. Our team ID then is going to come from Apple. So the first thing we want to do is go to developer.apple.com and figure out what our team ID is. On the Apple developer page, you've got a couple options along the top here. I'm going to click on the account and log into my Apple developer account. It's the same process as logging in via Thunkable. You enter in your Apple ID and then add in your password as well. This method also works with 2-factor authentication enabled, so if you've got that turned on, make sure you type in the relevant code. So within the Apple developer page, then you have an option here of creating certificates, identifiers, and profiles. You can also do that through the menu here on the left-hand side. So let's go in and start with this. To begin with, over on the left-hand side, we're going to create an app ID. So these are going to match the IDs that we made in Thunkable earlier on. Let's click the plus up here to add a new one. The name then that we're going to enter here is going to be Tables Quiz. This ID prefix, this is our team ID. So make sure you've copied that and you can add that in to Thunkable. The bundle ID then that we're going to use is going to be the one that we created in Thunkable. It's Tables Quiz. And if you have any services in your app, you can check them here. So we don't have any services at the moment. We're going to leave all of these blank. Let's hit continue. And you can have a look here at your team ID .bundle ID with your app name or your app ID up here. And when we're happy with that, this is our app registered, and click done. So now we've got an extra app here. It's called Tables Quiz. Go back to Thunkable, and where it asks me for my team ID, I can paste that in like so. The next thing then is our 2-factor authentication. So I'm going to download the certificate signing request, and then in my developer page I'm going to create a certificate file. So I'm going to go through the steps for that now as well. So the next thing we want to do then is create a certificate for our app. In the certificate section, let's click on all. We have options for pending, development, and production. So this is a list. In total we can have 2 different certificates. So let's click on plus here to create a new one. The options that we have are for either development or production. Development means that you're publishing the app only to your own devices, whereas with production, what we're going to do is upload it to the App Store. So let's choose that one. And when we're happy, we'll go to continue. And the next thing then it asks us for is a CSR file. We don't have to worry about creating this because thankfully Thunkable has done that for us. And on the next page here, we want to upload our certificate signing request. So how do you go about getting one of these files? That's back in Thunkable itself. So over here in the publishing dialog, you have the option here to download CSR, or the certificate signing request. So what we can do then is we can choose the file from our computer. In our downloads then we have this my CSR file here. Let's open that. And then we click continue. This brings us to the next page here with our certificate, our CER file. So this is our iOS distribution certificate. When we're done, we can click like that. And again, we have an option here to re-download it or to revoke the certificate, depending on what our needs are. Back in Thunkable then, what we want to do is upload this certificate. So if we go to our download folder, we can find our .cer. Let's click open. And let's click next. And the final file then it wants is our .mobile provision file. So we go back to our developer page again to create the mobile provision. On the left hand side again, we've got a few different options here, and at the very bottom we'll find the provisioning profiles. I've got one for an existing app already. To create a new one, we click the plus. We want to create an iOS app, so it's going to be distributed in the App Store. Again, the development options are for testing on your own devices. In here then you choose the app ID, so that's your team ID and your bundle ID. So the one we want here is Tables Quiz. Click continue. And then you choose which certificate you want to use. So the one I made is the second one here. We click continue. And our profile name then can just be our app name here. So Tables Quiz, like so. Once we're happy with that, it will create a mobile provision file for us. Again, this gets downloaded here, and we go back to Thunkable to upload it. To upload the mobile provision profile, let's just hit upload. We'll choose the .mobile provision file here from our downloads folder. And if we click next, we're asked for an app-specific password. So we're pretty much done now with developer.apple.com. To generate this password, we have to go to appleid.apple.com. On the Apple ID page, sign in again with your Apple account. And once you're logged in, you have an option down here in security to generate an app-specific password. Choose a name for this, and I'm going to come in again, Tables Quiz. And your app-specific password, then you get these 16 characters separated by hyphens. So let's copy those over. It's a good idea to make a note of this, because once you've created it, you can't see this password again. So make a note of this password, save it somewhere securely, just in case you ever need to change it. Back in Thunkable then, I'm going to just copy and paste over the password, and we click next, and we're ready then to essentially stage our app in App Store Connect. So the third and final Apple website that we need is called App Store Connect. So let's head over there. If you're not logged into App Store Connect, do so. Click on My Apps to get started. So if you haven't created any apps, you'll need to click the plus button here to add a new one. Let's create a new app. We know already that it's going to be for iOS. It's going to be called Tables Quiz. The language is going to be English. The bundle ID is our Tables Quiz. And the SKU, the SKU or stock keeping unit, is just an internal number. So whatever you want to internally identify this app with, you can use the SKU for that. And this is all set up now and it's ready to go. So we've got our bundle ID. You can choose categories then for your apps. Is it education, health and fitness, whatever category it fits in? And then within then, there's usually a secondary, or there might even be subcategories. So within gaming, you get to choose the kind of genre of game that you have. But that's up to you then to set out your store for the App Store listing. Back in Thunkable then, you can click Next. Make sure you've got version number and a build number in here. These are automatically populated, so when you go to update your app, they'll be auto incremented as well. And you can just click submit, and you get a little message here. Okay, so that's everything you need to get your app published on the App Store. You need 3 or 4 different pieces of information and a few different files, so it requires just a little bit of patience to go around to those different websites, collect the information that you need, and upload them to the Thunkable form here like this. Hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Best of luck with your own apps. Let us know in the comments what sort of apps you're working on, and see you in the next tutorial.